The Cold War was of political and military. The Cold War lasted from 1945 to the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991. It was basically a conflict between the two superpowers at the time, the United States and the Soviet Union. Both wanted to promote its own politics and expand its influence globally. The Cold War was made by competition between the two sides in different areas, including military, technological advancement, and economical development. With the threat of war throughout the period, the Cold War had a profound impact on the global politics, shaping the course of history. Symbolism. The match was seen as a battle between the two superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union. Fischer was an American and Sipaska was a Soviet. The match was seen as a symbol of the ongoing Cold War rivalry between the two nations, and the stakes were high for both sides. Propaganda. The Soviet people were well known as being the best at chess for many years, and the match was seen as an opportunity for the United States to show that they could compete. The US government and media presented the match as a fight between freedom, represented by Fischer, and the forces of oppression, represented by Spassky. Diplomacy. This match was an opportunity for the two nations to engage in some low-risk diplomacy. The US and Soviet governments had to negotiate the match, and the two players even exchanged gifts before the game began. It was seen as a good time for the two sides to engage in some friendly competition. National pride. The match was seen as a source of national pride for both the United States and the Soviet Union. The ending of the game was reflecting the strength and superiority of each nation's political and economical system. After Bobby Fischer won, it was seen as a victory for the United States and devastating loss for the Soviets. In general, the Fischer and Sapolsky match was seen as a proxy battle. It was a well-known game that had the eyes of many people everywhere, and it was an epitome of the two superpowers. A chessboard, the pieces being arranged in the starting position. Bobby Fischer, considered by many to be the greatest chess player of all time, made history with his legendary matches against the Soviet grandmasters during the Cold War. But how did he become such a chess prodigy? But before we start, we need to understand what chess is. So what is chess? Chess is a two-player strategy board game played on a square board divided into 64 squares of alternating colors. Each player begins the game with 16 pieces: one king, one queen, two rooks, two knights, two bishops, and 8 pawns. The objective of the game is to checkmate the opponent's king, which means the king is in a position to be captured, and there is no way to move the king out of capture. The game is played by moving pieces in according to specific rules, with the goal of putting the opponent's king in checkmate while protecting one's own king. Bobby was born in Chicago in 1943 and showed a remarkable aptitude for chess from a young age. He learned the game from his sister and his mother, who was a passionate player herself. By the time he was 6 years old, Bobby was already defeating adult opponents. In an interview with Bobby Fischer's friend, he states, "He just had a natural talent for the game. You could see it in the way he looked at the board, the way he thought about the pieces. He was always several moves ahead of everyone else." Bobby Fischer is mostly known for inventing Chess 960. So what is Chess 960? Chess 960, also known as Fischer's Random Chess, is a variant of the traditional game of chess that was invented by the former world chess champion, Bobby Fischer. In Chess 960, the starting position of the pieces in the back is randomized, with only the restriction being that the bishops must be placed on squares of opposite color. The goal of the game is the same as traditional chess, to checkmate your opponent's king. The random starting position introduces an element of unpredictability to the game and makes it more challenging, as the players must rely on their understanding of chess principles and tactics rather than memorize openings. But this isn't the only thing Bobby Fischer is known for. Bobby Fischer was also praised for being one of the greatest chess players of all time. Bobby's meteoric rise to fame began with a series of victories at chess tournaments across the country. He won the United States Junior Championship at the age of 13 and went on to become the youngest ever Grandmaster in history at the age of 15. In an interview with a chess expert, he states, Bobby was simply in a league of his own. He had a unique style of play, characterized by his aggressive tactics and unorthodox openings. He was not afraid to take risks, and his bold, imaginative moves often caught his opponents off guard. Bobby's greatest achievements came in 1972 when he faced off against Boris Spassky, the reigning world champion and a symbol of Soviet dominance. In the world of chess, the match was more than just a contest of skill. It was a Cold War showdown with the eyes of the world watching. The match was one of the most tense and closely watched events of the 20th century. It was a battle of wits and nerves, with Bobby and Spassky pushing each other to the limit. In the end, Bobby emerged victorious, becoming the first American to win the World Chess Championship. Bobby achieved a perfect score at the U.S. Championship in 1963 at the age of 20, also leading him to write a book titled My 60 Memorable Games, which was a treasured chess piece for chess fans. Although Bobby Fischer was one of the greatest chess players of all time, he wasn't exactly the nicest guy. Bobby Fischer didn't have the best sportsmanship, and is common in many chess player matches, as it's pure anger released after frying their brains on simulating the moves to be made. You can't really blame on him, as this was the true nature of the game. Bobby Fischer's impact on the world of chess cannot be overstated. He was a true chess genius, a player who pushed the limits of what was thought possible in the game. His matches against Soviet grandmasters are still studied and discussed to this day. His influence can be seen in the play of generations of chess players who have followed in his footsteps. Bobby Fischer died on January 17, 2008, and his Japanese widow, Miyoko Watai, inherited his wealth after his death. There is not much information available about the fate of his other family members. Bobby Fischer is widely considered one of the greatest chess players of all time, and has inspired many contemporary chess players and enthusiasts. His life achievements in the game would have been widely recognized and studied, and he remains an inspiration to chess players around the world who strive to emulate his tactical brilliance and competitive spirit. In addition to chess players, Fischer's life was also inspired filmmakers and writers, and others in the arts who sought to capture the essence of his enigmatic personality and parallel chess talent. Bobby Fischer may have passed on, but his legacy lives on, inspiring chess players and fans around the world.